Alright, welcome back to the Frugal Homestead. So today we're going to be making the donuts. Everybody's been waiting for this video. I've been teasing it some on Instagram and on Facebook and MeWe in the Food Fight group. So basically I took the concept of taking a donut and said I want to eat donuts for breakfast. Someone else actually did, but I made it work. So,
and it works well.
Yeah, I mean it really does. Trying to have like a little fitter lifestyle, so here we go. I'm gonna go through all the ingredients, and then as we work it all together, my wife's gonna kind of talk to us about amounts and calorie count, etc., and get us into the actual macros of it somewhat, at least calories. So we start off with quarter cup of flour.
Quarter cup of flour.
Or is that half cup?
Quarter cup.
2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. 2 egg whites. 1 teaspoon of baking powder.
1 tablespoon.
1 tablespoon of Truvia. So, or whatever low calorie, 0 calorie sweetener you like. 1 tablespoon of unsweetened applesauce. And 1/2 cup of pumpkin. This is the actual secret, guys. Alright? There's 2 things in this that makes it the secret. You don't even taste the pumpkin, so just forget that. That just makes it kind of cakey. And that's your trade-off for your oil is your applesauce. Now, of course, we have to have our protein powder. So you have 1 scoop, and we use for the chocolate, the PE Science protein powder. Now, this is the frosted chocolate cupcake version, so it kind of works out perfect, but use whatever protein powder you have. Preferably the lower calorie, the better. This one has 120 calories, and it will directly affect how many calories are in each donut. So, we'll start off actually by putting in the 1 scoop of the protein powder. Let's just get that out of the way.
That is 120 carbs or calories, 1 carb, and 24 grams of protein. So good protein.
Yep, good source protein right there. That's the other thing. When you eat donuts, the macros are real bad. Let's just put it that way. So we're going to try and make them better. So we've got our flour. All right, this is going to be our binder. It's a necessity. Could you put less in? Nah. Yeah, but you're probably not going to have them hold together as well. So,
quarter cup of flour, which is 110 calories, 22 carbs, and 0 protein.
Alright, so next is our cocoa, which is 2 tablespoons.
Yes, 2 tablespoons, and that is 20 calories and 6 carbs.
Okay. Now we're going to put in our 2 large egg whites.
Which is 34 calories and, sorry, I gotta look, 0 carbs and 7 protein.
Yep, so more protein in the mix. Actually, I'm going to go next and put in our Truvia.
The Truvia is 10 calories and 4 carbs, 0 protein.
Yep. Got our unsweetened applesauce. I don't know if we have our specs on that.
20 calories and 6 carbs.
That was homemade, by the way. Alright, so here's our 1/2 cup of pumpkin. Now you just buy a can of pumpkin. We make lots of batches, so we just put it in the fridge for the next batch.
And you need to know, this is just plain pumpkin. Make sure you don't get pumpkin pie mix. They're right beside each other in the grocery store.
Yep.
So that is just plain pumpkin. And that is 50 calories, 11 carbs, and 2 protein.
And then we got 1 teaspoon of baking powder.
Which I believe is 0 in everything.
Looks like it. So, now, you can use either kind of flour. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't. But I'm going to let my wife take over mixing this because it takes a minute. It's going to look like you got too many dry ingredients, but you don't. You just have to work it in without throwing the protein powder everywhere because that PE Science likes to poof. While she's doing that, I'm going to prep the trays. This is a baking donut tray. You can get these, well, we bought this one at Walmart. They're $8 at Walmart. They are pretty good about non-stick, but we do still spray them. And I like to have 2 because she eats a lot of donuts.
Yes, I do. This has become one of my favorite breakfasts.
So, don't take much because these are already kind of non-stick. And it does take a minute and some muscle to mix that, because getting the eggs to fold into the cocoa powder and all that, it doesn't always want to go.
And I'm going to get me a spoon.
Now, the problem isn't making the donuts. The problem is getting the donuts into the pan reasonably good. And that's what my wife has kind of become a pro at.
The batter is super thick, so you kind of just take a spoon and kind of put it in a spoonful at a time. But whenever they rise, they go together and they make one donut.
So this will make one batch, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I want to show you guys this because it is thick. It's like a mousse. I mean, it's thick. So you're going to have to work to put it in. And I let my wife do this. Split it over the tray in the 6, okay? Don't try and get fancy. And then when you're done, you take the back of your spoon and lay it flat and just kind of run it around to smooth it out.
There you go. So I just take a little bit at a time and kind of just pull it off my spoon, working my way around it.
And fingers help. Use your fingers.
So I just put an average amount to begin with, and then if I have any dough left over in the end, I just try and even it out.
For initial filling, just keep it just slightly below the ridge in the middle. And then, like she said, you can always just add in the rest. And this is usually the part she does, unless she sends me a text message from work saying, make donuts. I took the last of them this morning.
This is my job. This is his recipe, so he's always the one who makes it. And then he hands me the bowl and says, they're your donuts. Go put them in the pan.
Yeah. Now, while she's doing this, we've got the oven back here preheated at 350 degrees. These are going to go in from anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. As much as 15 if you're using like a 110 convection style oven. But in a full-size oven, generally it's like 10 to 12 minutes. And when she gets it filled here, I'll put it up so you guys can kind of see it.
This is art.
She thinks it's art, but she also thinks eating them is art. So
these are so good.
And if you end up uneven, just pull a little off them. It doesn't matter. These are very forgiving. They really are. But I promise you, if you make a dozen of these, especially with the tricks I'm going to show you at the end to ice and dress them up, I can promise you very few people would know that these are not real donuts.
They're not real donuts.
And they're more cake-like, so think Hostess.
Like a cake donut.
Think Hostess donuts.
I think I got them pretty even. That one might have a little bit too much.
Now all I do is I take them before I put them in the oven and spin the spoon around, and that just kind of pushes some air bubbles out and makes my hole stay open instead of closing over. So there's your finished product. See if you guys can see that. So she'll go put it in the oven for 10 to 12 minutes. We'll bring them out and then we'll show you the next steps. Alright guys, so we're back and they are out and they are hot. See if we can get the camera to pick them up. So what I do, and this may not be the most graceful way, is I do that because they're hot.
They flip right out for him. It's way slower for me.
So we'll let them kind of set here for a minute. At this point, if you wanted to do powdered sugar, if you like wanted to use confectioner sugar, you could spray it, especially with like an ear or nose bulb. You know, just spray it lightly and it would stick to it because of the moisture. But we're going to let them cool down for a second. I'm going to show you how we make the icing. We got our protein powder. We're going to take, whatever amount, depending on how much ice you want to make. I'm going to put about 1/4 to 1/3 of a scoop.
Because it really goes a long ways.
Yeah, the thicker you want to put it on, the more you'll have to make. But you just start very slowly adding water. Put some more in there for me, honey. You don't want to make it really watery. If you do, don't freak out. Just add more protein powder. Go ahead. That's good. Give it a second. Let me work it in.
Okay.
You just want to work it in. Just keep adding little by little. You want it to stay thick. That's the trick. It very quickly can go watery. Let me just add more, babe. There you go. Okay. Now what I do is I just start dabbing. I go around the circle, just bumping it lightly with the spoon with just a little bit on it. And it kind of stands up. I'm going to let my wife throw sprinkles on a couple of them.
Oh, I turned out way too many.
That's all right. Now as this dries, it's going to thicken and darken and look like it's a lot thicker. I'm going to leave a few plain because I want you to see them kind of up close. And plain is better if you want lower calories. We're going to give you the specs on it, but we can't give you the specs on it with icing and sprinkles and all that because we don't know what protein powder you use and how much you're going to put on here. It's not much. As long as you are realistic with it.
Like, we don't put a ton of sprinkles on, just enough so that you have some sprinkles.
It's got some crunch, it's got some color, and especially for like my granddaughter, she absolutely adores it to have a little bit of sprinkles on it because it makes her feel special. Because I tell her, I made a donut for you. And I do make them especially for her.
Yes, you do.
I make hers have like the red, white, and blue sprinkles and all that. But
now you can use vanilla protein powder and make.
yeah, you can have different icings, whatever you want. But to give you an idea, that's a chocolate with blue sprinkles. I hope that's coming out on camera. This is her Tutti Frutti sprinkles with icing. And of course, everyone's favorite chocolate on chocolate. Now, if you want to see what plain looks like, and then the other side, it's just a pretty donut.
We tend to decorate the bottoms of them. I don't know why.
Well, I usually do. And the only reason I do that is because they cook and they harden up on the bottom first because they were on top, sticking out. So it ends up making them so they don't absorb as much moisture. So let's kind of, I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully the camera's picking it up. Now, let's go ahead and take this one. Let you see the inside. They're very cake-like, very soft. These are good, guys. So,
I love you. You are such a good cook.
just like because I got you donuts. Let's talk about right here this. What's this going to cost you for your calorie count? Let's talk about it. So, honey, what's one donut going to cost me when I put it into my calorie counter tracker?
60 calories.
All right. And how many carbs?
8 carbs.
8 carbs. All right. And how much protein's in this bad boy?
6 grams of protein.
There it is, guys. 6 grams of protein in that. So she gets up in the morning. The way her count is, she can have what, about 1,400 a day? So this is a drop in the bucket. This is like 2 or 3 of these will be a good breakfast, you know what I mean? And she's still left with tons of calories for the day.
So I can have 2 of those donuts at 60 calories a piece. I only have 120 calories. I'm ending up with almost 12 grams of protein, which is good for me. That I need the extra protein to up my protein.
Yep.
And only 16 carbs.
Yep. And you're eating donuts. Sit in a break room.
And it's donuts.
Sit in a break room at work and eat these, and people are going to be like, you're going to get so fat. And you can be like, nope, I'm eating healthy. And it sounds hilarious, but it's true.
And I don't taste the protein powder in them, to me. They don't taste like protein powder.
No, they're like to me it tastes like a sugar-free cake. I mean, you can tell the difference between a regular cake and a sugar-free cake slightly, but not enough that it's going to bother you. It's not like you're going to put it back. And then when you add in the icing on top, and you get that, because it keeps that consistency. It dries out, but it keeps that icing consistency, and you get that little snap from the sprinkles when you bite into it. It makes your mouth think, oh, wow, donut, full-blown donut. So you guys should really try these out. You really should take them, just have them once. Trick your, try and give it to your kids. Give it to your granddaughter like we do.
See if anybody notices.
See if anybody says anything. I bet you nobody says anything and they want more. I bet you. And if you, then maybe they'll say something after you tell them what it is.
Don't tell them the calorie count or anything. Just be like, I made homemade donuts. Try them out.
Yep. But we hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you're not already, please take a moment. Go down to the bottom. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell because we got a lot more recipes coming at you.
Oh, yeah. It's dinner time. I mean, they're for breakfast.
Yeah. I'm going to get a phone call tomorrow. It's going to say, honey, I took all the donuts. Make some more donuts. That's what that'll be. You better get off my donuts.
Mm.
You can have a plain one.
I like the plain ones.
Anyways, guys, we'll see you in the next one. And make sure you eat your donuts. They're healthy for you.